I worked the night shift at the laundromat on Crenshaw for 3 years. Nothing ever happened. That was the whole point of the job. Sit there from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Make change when someone needed it. Mop the floors around 2 a.m. when it was dead. Balance the register at dawn. The owner, Mrs. Chen, didn't care what I did with the downtime as long as the place stayed clean and the money was right. I could read, do homework for my community college classes, watch videos on my phone. Easy money. The place had 20 washers and 20 dryers, fluorescent lights that hummed just loud enough to notice, and a smell of detergent and hot lint that got into your clothes and stayed there. Orange plastic chairs lined the walls. A TV mounted in the corner played infomercials on mute all night. There was a vending machine for detergent and fabric softener, a change machine that worked half the time, and a bathroom that locked from the outside so people couldn't sleep in it. The regular customers were predictable. Tuesday nights brought the nurse from Valley Medical who did her scrubs around 11 p.m., always looking exhausted. Thursdays meant the old Vietnamese couple with their restaurant linens, arriving exactly at midnight, working in perfect silent coordination. Every night around 1 a.m., construction workers would come in covered in drywall dust or mud, depending on the job. They'd use the same 3 machines in the front row, drink beer from paper bags and leave their empties neatly in the trash. After a few months, you'd know everyone's routine. The single mom who did 6 loads every Sunday night while her kids slept in the car. The college kid who never sorted his colors from whites. The elderly man who hand-washed his wife's delicate sweaters in the sink, then just used the dryer on low heat. You learn these patterns. They become the rhythm of your shift. But there was this one regular I never figured out. Started coming in maybe 6 months ago, around late March or early April. She was a middle-aged woman, maybe 45 or 50. Hard to tell exactly. Brown hair always in the same ponytail, always wearing the same outfit, grey sweatpants, oversized Lakers jersey number 24, white sneakers that squeaked on the linoleum when it was wet. She'd come in around 2:30 a.m. Not every night, not on any schedule I could identify. Sometimes Monday and Wednesday, sometimes not for a week, then 3 nights in a row. She only ever washed 1 load. Always used machine number 7, the one in the back corner that wobbled during the spin cycle and that most customers avoided. Never brought her own detergent. Always bought a single-use box from the vending machine, paying with exact change. 3 quarters, 2 dimes, 1 nickel. She'd sit in the orange chair directly across from machine 7 and watch her clothes wash. The whole cycle, 38 minutes. Never looked at her phone. Never picked up one of the old magazines from the rack. Just watched the clothes tumble behind the glass door. When the washer finished, she'd move everything to dryer number 3. Always number 3, even if all the others were empty. Same routine there. Sit in the chair across from it. Watch the clothes tumble for the full hour cycle. When it buzzed, she'd fold everything on the counter by the window. Then she'd put it all in a black garbage bag and leave. Nothing strange about that, really. Lots of people have their preferred machines. Lots of people zone out watching their laundry spin. But after a couple months, I started noticing something. It was always the same clothes. I mean exactly the same load. 2 pairs of khaki pants, 3 white button-up shirts, the kind with the little breast pocket, a week's worth of white underwear, 7 pairs of white socks. All men's clothes, size medium or so. Never anything else, never a towel, never a jacket, never an extra shirt. The exact same items every single time. I started paying closer attention. The clothes had specific details that never changed. a small brown stain on the left knee of one pair of khakis, a missing button on one shirt, third one down, a black sock mixed in with the white ones, always just one. These weren't similar clothes. They were the same clothes. In June, things got stranger. I was mopping near machine 7 while she was washing her load. The mop bucket bumped the washer and some water sloshed out onto the floor. When I looked closer, the water was already dirty. Grey water, like what comes out at the end of a wash cycle. But the machine had just started filling. The digital timer showed 36 minutes remaining. I looked through the door. The clothes were soaking in dirty water. Soap suds floated on top, but the water underneath was the color of old dishwater. The clothes tumbled through it, and I could see that brown stain on the khakis, dark and fresh looking. When the cycle finished and she moved the clothes to the dryer, they were still wet with that grey water. She didn't seem to notice. Or maybe she did, and didn't care. The dryer ran for its full hour, and when she pulled the clothes out, they were dry, but still stained. The button was still missing. The black sock was still there among the white ones. July was when I started keeping a notebook. Just observations at first. Time she came in, how long she stayed, little details I noticed. July 9th, 2:33 a.m. She counted her coins 3 times before putting them in the vending machine. July 14th, 2:28 a.m. Stood at machine 7 for 2 minutes before opening it. Machine was empty. July 21st, 2:31 a.m. Folded the same shirt twice, realized I was watching and turned away. July 30th, 2:35 a.m. The black sock had a hole in the heel. Always the same hole. August brought new behaviors. She started pausing during her routine. She'd be folding a shirt and just stop, holding it half folded for minutes at a time. Or she'd stand at the dryer with the door open after the cycle ended, heat dissipating into the air, not moving to take the clothes out. These pauses got longer. 5 minutes, 10, 15. One night she stood at the open dryer for 23 minutes. I timed it. The clothes were cooling inside, getting that stiff feeling that happens when you leave them too long. Other customers started noticing, giving her weird looks, using machines on the other side of the laundromat. Finally she blinked, like she was waking up, pulled out the clothes and folded them at normal speed. September was when machine 7 broke. It happened mid-cycle, just stopped running, full of water and clothes. The timer was stuck at 19 minutes. She stood up from her chair when it stopped, walked over to the machine and stared at the timer. She didn't come to the counter to tell me. She didn't try hitting buttons or jiggling the lid. She just stood there. After 5 minutes, I walked over, told her I could move her clothes to another machine, no charge for restarting the wash. She looked at me, and for the first time since she'd started coming in, she made real eye contact. Her eyes were brown, but there was something wrong with how she looked at me, like she was looking from very far away or through water or from the bottom of something deep. She said machine 7 was the only one that worked. I told her it was broken, but I'd get it fixed by tomorrow. She said it again. Machine 7 was the only one that worked. Then she turned and walked out, leaving her clothes soaking in the broken machine. The black garbage bag she always brought was still on the chair. I figured she'd come back, so I wrung out the clothes as best I could and put them in a plastic bag behind the counter. She came back 3 nights later. Machine 7 was fixed. She didn't ask about her abandoned clothes. She had her black garbage bag with her, and when she opened it to load the washer, I saw the same clothes. The khakis with the brown stain. The shirts with the missing button. the black sock among the white ones. Somehow she had the same exact clothes, but dry and ready to wash again. The wet clothes I had saved were still in the bag behind the counter, starting to smell like mildew. I threw them away after she left that night, but the smell stayed in my nostrils for hours. October was when I checked the security footage. Mrs. Chen kept the recordings for 2 weeks. Insurance purposes, she said. But the system actually saved them for much longer if you knew how to look. I went back to when this woman started coming in, found her first visit on March 29th, 2:34 a.m. In the footage from March, she looked normal. Came in, washed clothes, left. In April, her mouth was moving while she folded, having a full conversation with no one there, gesturing with her hands sometimes, like she was explaining something, but completely alone in the laundromat. In May, she would fold the same shirt multiple times, not like she was being careful. She'd fold it completely, put it in the pile, then immediately pick it up again, unfold it, and fold it again, sometimes 3 or 4 times for the same shirt. By June, the security camera showed something impossible. The clothes she pulled from the dryer were the same clothes she put in the washer. I mean, literally the same. The stains were still there. The dirt was still there. At one point, a shirt fell on the floor when she transferred it to the dryer, and she picked it up with a clear, dusty footprint on it. When she pulled it from the dryer an hour later, the footprint was still there. Exactly the same. The washing machine was running. I could see it filling with water, agitating, spinning. The dryer was heating and tumbling, but the clothes weren't getting clean. They weren't even getting wet, really. They came out exactly as they went in. November changed everything. She started coming later, closer to 4 a.m. Her pauses got longer. Sometimes she'd sit in the chair and not get up when the washer finished. The buzzer would go off, that harsh electronic sound that echoed in the empty laundromat, and she wouldn't move. It would buzz again 5 minutes later, then again. She'd sit through 3 or 4 reminder buzzers before finally getting up. On November 8th, she came in at 4:47 a.m. I was counting down to 6, ready to lock up and go home. She had her garbage bag, loaded the clothes into machine 7, added detergent, started the cycle. Then she opened the lid while it was running. The machine should have stopped. There's a safety switch that cuts power when the lid opens, but it kept running. Water kept flowing in. I could hear the motor humming, see the water rising through the open lid. The water rose to the normal fill line, then kept going. It reached the rim where the lid usually sits. Then it overflowed. Water poured over the edges, running down the white metal sides, pooling on the floor. The machine kept humming. Water kept flowing. She stood there watching it overflow. Water spread across the linoleum, reached her white sneakers, soaked into them. She didn't move. The pool expanded, running toward the drain in the center of the room, but also spreading outward, darkening the floor. I ran over with the mop bucket, reached past her to hit the power button on the control panel. The water stopped. The humming stopped. She turned to look at me with those faraway eyes. She opened her mouth, and for a second I thought she was going to say something about Machine 7 being the only one that worked. But instead, she said something else. She said, "He's been in there so long." She said it quietly, like she was telling me a secret. Then she said it again. "He's been in there so long." I looked into Machine 7. The lid was still open, the drum full of water, but there were no clothes in it. Nothing. The water was grey and filmy, but empty. She picked up her black garbage bag from the chair. It was still full. She had never put the clothes in the machine. She had been washing nothing. She walked out, leaving wet footprints across the floor. Her car started in the parking lot, headlights sweeping across the windows as she pulled away. I looked back in machine 7. That's when I saw it, scratched into the metal drum like someone had used a key or a coin over and over in the same spot until it carved through the enamel. 2 words, still washing. I left right then. Didn't mop the water, didn't count the register, didn't lock up, just walked out and drove home. Mrs. Chen called me the next morning, angry about the mess and the unlocked door. I told her I quit. She threatened to withhold my last paycheck. I didn't care. I found a job at a grocery store, stocking shelves during the day. Normal hours, normal people. But I drove past the laundromat last night. Couldn't help myself. It was 2:30 a.m. and I couldn't sleep, so I drove past. Her car was in the parking lot. That same beat-up Corolla with the broken tail light. But the laundromat was closed. Mrs. Chen had changed the hours after I quit. Now it closes at midnight, opens at 6 a.m. The neon open sign was off. The lights inside were off. The door was locked. I could see the deadbolt from the street. But her car was there. I parked and walked up to the windows, cupped my hands around my eyes to see through the glass. In the darkness, I could make out the shapes of the washers and dryers. And in front of machine 7, someone sitting in an orange chair, sitting completely still, waiting. The machine wasn't running, no lights were on, but she was there, in the dark, in the closed laundromat, sitting in front of machine 7. I check the news every morning now. Watch for stories about break-ins at the laundromat. Bodies found. Anything. But there's nothing. Mrs. Chen hasn't called me. No police have come by asking questions. Sometimes at night, always at 2:30 a.m. exactly, I wake up. I don't know why that specific time. But I wake up and think about her sitting there in the dark, waiting for clothes that never get clean. Washing something that's been in there so long. I won't go back to check again. I take a different route now when I drive at night, but I know she's there. Maybe not every night, not on a schedule anyone could predict, but she's there, washing the same clothes that never get clean for someone who's been in there so long. I don't want to know what she meant. I really don't want to know who she meant.